Hey y'all, it's Jen. Today I have a book haul of the books that I picked up during the Arkansas Literary Festival. This festival started on Thursday, April 27th, and it goes through tomorrow, April 30th. But I will not be attending that tomorrow session, so I wanted to go ahead and do a quick book haul for you. It is getting ready to storm, so I'm trying to get these videos done before the storms roll through. So if you hear a little bit of rumbling in the background, it's probably just a little bit of thunder. So on Thursday night, I did attend this session, and that was the session that had the young adult authors in it. My literary festival here in Arkansas is put on by Central Arkansas Library Systems, which is our main library for, well, Central Arkansas. And every year they put this festival on. I think this is the 17th, 18th, 19th, somewhere in there year. This is my first time to attend the festival though, and I did actually volunteer for part of it. You can see my shirt. The Thursday night session was the start of the festival, and that was our young adult session. I did pick up all three books by all three authors, and I want to say that it was an amazing panel. It was an hour long, led by a moderator with some questions from the audience. But all three of these authors, one of which I already knew of before I went in, and was the reason why I went to begin with, but all three of these authors worked so well together. They had good chemistry for the panel, and so I was really impressed by the overall discussion that was had, and I found it very intriguing, and also it made me want to pick up the books by the other two authors that I didn't already know, because it was just their stories were just very interesting. And so let's get started on that. First I got History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera, and this obviously was the author that I already knew about and the reason why I went to this session. They did personalize them for me and autograph it, so I have hauled this book already in my winter haul for 2017, but because I was there and I did want the autographed copy of it, I did go ahead and get another one, so I own two of these now. Adam was great. He was very personable, very friendly, and I really enjoyed talking to him and hearing his answers and how his stories came about and got put into his books. Next we've got But Then I Came Back by Estelle. I think that's how you pronounce that. This is her second book, and the main character in this one we first are introduced to in her first book, This Raging Light. However, it's not necessary to read that book to get to this one, but this main character has had an accident and is in a coma at the beginning of this story, and the accident itself happens in the first book. In this story, the main character is in a coma from an accident, and she's in the in-between. And in the in-between, there's other people in there. Eventually, she comes out of the coma, but she starts seeing all these flowers around, and she realizes that the person that was in the in-between with her is actually in the hospital that she was in, the very same one. And so she goes and finds that person and is trying to bring her out of the coma as well. So this is that story of that, and it does have a personal connection to the author, which I found interesting. Right before she started writing this book, her best friend committed suicide, and so through this book she is kind of exploring and dealing with, for herself it was cathartic to explore and go through the stages of grief and kind of explore where her friend might be. So while that isn't part of the story, that's kind of the background of how this story became, where the ideas behind it came. So I found that really interesting, and I've talked about this before, but I lost my sister a couple of years ago, and so I'm thinking that I will probably connect highly to this story based on that as well. Finally, we have The Secret Keepers by Trenton Lee Stewart. Trenton Lee Stewart is actually a native of Arkansas, and he lives right here in Little Rock, so I found that very interesting. This is a middle grade novel. Trenton Lee Stewart has 4 books out already that are middle grade. It's the Mysterious Benedict Society, and I'd never heard of those books either. I don't read a lot of middle grade, but this one is an adventure, kind of an adventure mystery story. It's a standalone, and it's about a boy who finds a mysterious object that has special powers, and he has to figure out how to navigate the world and the person that's trying to get this magical item, but keep all these secrets and keep himself and keep his family and keep another family safe as well. So I'm really interested in reading it. It is really thick. It looks like it's right at 500 pages. I'm definitely interested in in reading this, and it has a little bit of that personal connection since the author is right here in my hometown. The only session I got to go to today was the erasure session, and this session had 2 authors in it, both of them who had memoirs. The first one is Boy Erased, a memoir of identity, faith, and family by Jerrod Connelly, and he is actually also from Arkansas. I had intended on picking this book up already, and then I realized that he was going to be at the literary festival, and so I made a point to go to this session. I was going to read this book for one of my June prompts because it is LGBTQ month, and he is an LGBTQ author. He is gay, and it is his memoir about when he was in his late teens and going through a conversion camp. Hearing his story in person and putting an actual face to this story really kind of brought it home for me too. You could tell that in his talk, while he was happy and upbeat and joked, you could still see that there was a little bit of that distress and sadness that came from this time. Being from Arkansas, and his father was a Southern Baptist minister, he still is a Southern Baptist minister, it really kind of brought this home. He's small town Arkansas. We are not known for being very accepting and tolerant. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people here in Arkansas who are accepting and who are tolerant, but overall we're the Bible Belt, and a lot of Christian values really go into this, and they're not always the good parts of Christianity. So this isn't a joking, funny recount of his story. It is a very serious recount of his memoir and his life. So I'm very interested in reading this now, especially since I got to meet the author. It really kind of brings it to a more personal level. So I can't wait to read this. And again, all of these books are autographed. They are all personalized and autographed, so that makes it even more exciting because I can add them to my signed book shelf. The second author that was part of the erasure session was Noah Lederman, who is the author of A World Erased, A Grandson's Search for His Family's Holocaust Secrets. One of the cool things in this session was each of these authors read a little portion of their book to us, and then they talked about it. And this book, it's not very thick. It's 224 pages long, but it's really a grandson sitting down with his grandma and listening to her stories about the Holocaust and what she entailed, and the stories that were passed down through families and how it affected her. He did state in the session that his grandmother and one cousin were the only surviving members of their family. Everybody else in the family was killed in the Nazi concentration camps, or by Germans, or over there in that time. So I have always loved Holocaust stories. They are tragic and horrifying, but there is always that underlying sense of survival and triumph, and those are really kind of what really makes these stories appealing to me. These people are very resilient, and they endured some horrific things. Things that I don't know a lot about because I wasn't alive in that time, nor would I want to have been alive during that time. And listening to and reading and studying this time helps us hopefully prevent more genocide of this magnitude from happening in the future, or at least recognizing the signs of this type of dictatorship. And hopefully we can in the future stop it before it starts. That is all for my Arkansas Literary Festival book haul. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you maybe have learned of a couple of new authors, maybe have a few more books that you might want to pick up. If you've read any of these books, please let me know in the comments below. I'd like to have a discussion with you about them. If you haven't read any of them but plan on picking them up from this video, also please let me know that as well. Until next time, bye.